It's now again, in the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens, when no plant of the field was yet in the earth, and no vegetation of the field had yet sprung up, for the Lord God had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was no one to till the ground. But a stream would rise from the earth and water the whole face of the ground. And then the Lord God formed man from the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. So he's creating man here before he creates all the animals and the plants. Is that right? No plant of the field was yet in the earth, and no vegetation of the field. Yeah. So he hasn't created, I don't know, it doesn't say anything about the animals, but he hasn't created the plants yet, contrary to what he did in the first creation account. So God formed man from dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and the man became a living being. And the Lord God planted a garden in Eden in the east, and there he put the man who he had formed. Out of the ground, the Lord God made to grow every tree. Yes, so now he's growing the plants. Every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flows out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divides and becomes 4 branches. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one that flows around the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are there. The name of the second river is Gihon. It is the one that flows around the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, which flows east of Assyria, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. The Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to till it and keep it. And the Lord God commanded the man, "You may freely eat of every tree of the garden, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil you shall not eat, for in that day that you eat of it you shall die." Why did you put the fucking tree there, God? And why can't he eat? Why don't you want him to have the knowledge of good and evil? How's he supposed to choose? He's about to do something evil, which is to disobey your command, but he has not eaten the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil. So he doesn't know that it's evil to obey your command, to disobey your command. So it's not fair, God. Why'd you put that fucking tree there and then expect him not to eat from it when he didn't have the knowledge of good and evil? Anyway, then the Lord God said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I'll make him a helper as his partner." So out of the ground the Lord God formed every animal of the field and every bird of the air. Again, now he's forming the animals after he's formed Adam. So you people who believe that the Bible is inerrant and it doesn't have contradictions, they're right there in the first 2 chapters. So he formed every animal of the field and every bird of the air and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name. The man gave names to all cattle and to the birds of the air and to every animal of the field. But for the man, there was not found a helper as his partner. God didn't know that people weren't going to be into bestiality. I thought God was all-knowing. So the Lord God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and he slept. Then he took one of his ribs and closed up its place with flesh. And the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man he made into a woman and brought her to the man. Then the man said, "This, at last, is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for out of man this one was taken." Therefore a man leaves his father and his mother and clings to his wife. They become one flesh. And the man and his wife were both naked and were not ashamed. That reminds me of the old joke. So we just read the account there, but I'm just going to do a joke that's a slight variation on it. So God comes to Adam. He says, I've made you, but none of the animals are going to be a good partner for you and whatever. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make you the perfect the perfect partner. She'll be beautiful. She'll be intelligent. She'll be at your beck and call. She'll do anything you want. She'll just be the most amazing person ever. The perfect specimen of a human being. Everything will be perfect about her. You will never have a single complaint about your partner. And the only thing is, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And Adam said, "Oh, what can I get for a rib?" That's it. Next video will be chapter 3.